This is the kj52 podcast. I'm here with a longtime homie. Long time. How far we go back? You say at least 15 years?
We go back far enough to where I probably may have had hair. Like I actually may have had hair when we met.
May have had hair at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, let's just dive right in because that's the questions that people want to know. At what point were you like, I gotta call it. I gotta call it. I'm going full Jordan Bick. Like, what was the point? Because
look, man. When your
was it
hairline
somebody sat you down?
no. When your hairline is back here,
Okay.
you gotta let it go.
You never thought about doing the what's the one where they paint it on? You know which one I'm talking about?
The Beijing. No, I'm not a Beijing man. I'm sorry. I'm not a Beijing man. You know who ruined me? There's a picture. If you can find this picture one day, there's a picture of Carlos Boozer with
Okay.
Beijing on his hair. Hold on, I'm about to find it and just put it on the
Okay.
camera.
Okay.
And that made me
His paint
say,
are gain.
bro, no lie, he looked like a Ken doll. You know like he literally looked like that. Hold on. It's classic. He was just walking out on the court casually. Look, if you Google Carlos Boozer, the second thing that comes up is Carlos Boozer hair.
Yeah, he does look like an action figure.
It looks
He's
like an action figure, bro. And it was
you
at
can just
that
take
moment,
your thumb and like,
bro. I'm telling you, man. Like he went to bed that night, and his pillow was black. Like all his hair was on his pillow. That's what happened.
But here's what I'm asking: did anybody at any point go, "Hey, man, so
No,
hey, no, nobody. You
no,
were
I
you were
did it on
self-aware enough to know
of
it
my
was
own
time to go
volition.
full bald.
I consider myself pretty self-aware. So
You are
like,
pretty.
yeah.
You are self-aware to a fault, and I say that
Sometimes I'm too self-aware. Yeah.
that's why I liked you from the minute I met you, and you tried to punch me in the stomach. That's when I was like, this guy. Most hip hop artists I meet, you're about here,
Yeah.
standard rapidy rap. What's up? Dap dap, two slaps
Yeah.
on the back. You went under uppercut to
What
the
up?
gut.
What up, KJ? You know what? And it's crazy because it's like, bro,
And that
you're
tone
like
too.
you're a legend. So it's like I'm just nobody, nothing
Oh,
coming
stop
up,
it. Stop. Not even
punching
close.
KJ5.
No.
At that point in time,
No.
there's no 116 anthem. There's no nothing. There is this random dude from Nashville
Nah.
punching
Not
a
even close.
legend,
No.
in the stomach. Like, let's come on, bro. Like, and the crazy part. Now I'm gonna tell you how when I stopped, when I knew I was gonna be bald. My grandfather passed away. We're at the repast, and
Okay.
I look around and I see all of my cousins, and
Yeah.
they're all bald head with little pointy ears.
Okay.
And I just was like, "There's no
It's
hope
gonna be
for
me.
me." I was like, "There's no hope for me." My grandfather, bald head with pointy ears.
Yeah.
All of my cousins on my mom's side, bald head, pointy ears, and I was like, "Yeah, this is my future."
But here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go racial. We're only 2 minutes in, so let's go there.
Let's do it. Let's get to it. Hey, you beat me to
black
the punch.
people, black people have not only taken so many things that were negative and repurposed them, but I will say just the whole era of 90s hip hop of the bald heads, right?
Yes,
Like
sir.
you think about Onyx, you think about Run
DMX,
DMC, you think about DMX. Like
Tupac.
how many hip hop artists were just like the crazy bald head, and like this the other
Uh-huh.
guys grabbing them by the head. Like
Uh-huh.
once again, black people proving that there is nothing we can't do, and yet white people still can't do some of these things as good. So like
No,
I
y'all
think
got
about that.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It's
Y'all
true.
got
It's true. There's-
Jason Statham.
That's true.
Jason Statham
Yeah.
was a fly ball white dude for real.
Bruce Willis, he
Bru-
pulled off the bald head pretty good.
He did. But
You give him about a 7 out of 10.
yeah, it's not Jason Statham ball.
Okay, fair
head
enough.
level.
Fair enough.
Like
Fair enough.
it's
He's a British.
it-
He's a
he-
Brit.
He pulls it off, but it's just I think it might be European dudes with bald heads. It's
Okay.
kind of like a
It's the accent.
or
the
Texas,
accent.
Texas or Europeans. That's
You
what
got to
it
have a
is.
strong. You can't have just a non-specific accent. It cannot be like is he from Ohio? I don't know where he's from.
Listen,
I
if you're white and you have a bald head and you're like, hey guys, it's over for you. But it's like if you have a strong Texas accent, it
right.
works. Strong
You're
British
trying to sell
accent, it
somebody
works.
insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, anyway, we're not here to talk about bald heads, but I could probably this could be the podcast is an entire hair-based podcast. Um I think the context of when you tried to punch me the first time I met you, it wasn't you were somebody. I don't know why you're saying you were nobody because
I don't think so.
I remember exactly where I was standing. I remember what you said because you didn't just lead with like it was like KJ, yo, that it was a progressive beating,
Bro, I
and I
beat
don't.
up my friends. That's what I love to do. I love to
Oh
beat up
no,
my
listen,
friends.
man. Like I am. You know, I say this with all complimentary. Say you're a troll, and troll recognize trolls. Troll game recognize troll game.
Yes, sir.
If I like somebody, I usually try to push it as far as I can, and
For
within
sure.
reason. But I might say a little bit of a, dry joke or whatever, and just to see how they react, to see if they, I might be deadpan. And most hip hoppers take themselves way too serious to
Yeah.
catch a lot of like dry humor. And I knew that the minute you went for the uppercut, uh, I was like, okay, that's because I already knew you from. Well, I didn't know you, but I know you had toured with my man Morph, my longtime
Yeah.
DJ,
Yeah.
DJ
Yeah.
Morph, and we would sit in the hotel room getting ready to do something, and just always catching up. Like, well, oh yeah, I was out with Pro, and Morph would just go, I like Pro. He would say it like it was
Nah.
like a life.
Yeah.
It was like a life statement. So if you
Respect.
get the Uncle Morph stamp of approval, but anyway,
That tour was
I've
hilarious because I was constantly being confused with Jason. Like little white kids at youth groups was like, Jason. And I'm like, that's why I was like, nobody knew who I was, bro. They're just like, Jason, we're so happy you're here. I'm like, no, I'm not
well,
Jason. He's back in the green
let's
room.
do this. Let's just get this out there because I think it'll be like a healing moment for you.
Yeah.
Let's give the top 5 people you have been mistaken for in the Christian hip hop, Christian music setting. What's the number one? Oh no, let's work backwards. Number 5. What's number
Number
5?
5. I don't really like I don't have a ranking, but
Okay.
I have definitely been confused with. So I'm just gonna tell you who the people I've been confused with in
Okay, yeah,
my
do that.
entire life. Um, number negative 1,000, but I have to be honest, is Diddy.
What?
Yes,
Stop it.
randomly, yes, bro. I was like, what?
Okay. That I
Where
did
did
not
you?
see coming.
Where did you get this from? Like, no lie, like. I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah,
Okay.
Diddy,
Okay.
Dennis Rodman.
Ah, but you never had like dyed hair or anything. I could see it in the face a little, but that's a stretch.
Never,
That's not even. Okay, continue.
never. Jason,
Jason. Okay, for those that don't know, Jason is a homie from St. Louis, Christian hip
legendary
hop
rapper from
artist, but
St. Louis. Yep,
moved to Iowa. I think I haven't
I
seen him
think
in a
so.
long
Yeah,
time.
he's up at like well, like there's like this like area where like Ohio, Missouri, Illinois, and Iowa. Iowa got some like gangster stuff going on over there.
It does.
It's crazy because
If you had to get out of Chicago, you can run to
you went to
Iowa.
Iowa, yeah. So they got some gangster stuff going
O-
on.
Okay, give me the other two. I
I've
already know. I already know what the number one is, but go ahead. The other
yeah.
two.
So I've never been confused. Well, I'll put it this way, Pac. Like I've had people like, yo, you look like Tupac. I'm like, it's just because I have a bald head. Don't do this. Don't do this. And the number one, which is the most ridiculous out of all of them, is Lecrae.
Absolutely.
I'm like,
And
this is
I've
the most ridiculous
I feel like I've had
mistake you've
therapy
ever
sessions
made.
with you about this before,
Bruh, that's the
via
number
text.
one. I will never forget
You
being
said it
on
was
Winter
on Winter
Jam.
Jam. Winter
Yes,
Jam was
being
the
on
worst
Winter
one.
Jam. And first of all, I tell this story. I just posted this crazy because we were talking about this today because I posted this on my IG. But No Big Deal was my road manager, and yes, and Lecrae's table deal was working my table, so we was
Okay.
like getting it out the mud. Lecrae has this awesome layout, and they were putting my merch in the rafters, and Deal was
If you can
figuring
find you, you
out.
can buy something.
Yeah, if you can fly a kite up here with some money, I'll sit the shirt down. You know what I'm saying? So,
I love
uh,
it.
so anyhow, they were coming to my table talking about, hey, is this Lil Chris's table? So they thought Lecrae's name was Lil Chris, like Lil Wayne, Lil Chris. And my face with my name is on the table. I have this big
Doesn't
banner
matter.
because I was sponsored by Engine. So not only did I have banners by my table, I have banners throughout that was part of my sponsorship. And like literally, people was confusing me
What?
with Lil Chris or Lecrae.
What? You don't have to say the exact towns these were happening, but can you give me sort of a
You,
regional?
oh, you know, Winter Jam. First of all, does not hit a
Yeah.
major city ever.
No.
It's
Not
it's it's
no.
all in the suburbs and it's all in the
Yeah.
country. And
Okay.
listen, man, I have to thank like the Winter Jam people. Like y'all bless me. Studio I'm in right now is a direct blessing of Winter
Absolutely.
Jam. And all the people, all the little
Shout out the
Chris,
new song.
all the people that thought I was little Chris, thank y'all. Like I
Thank
did.
you for the purchase. Either
You
way.
could have called me Ronald McDonald. Is this the Ronald McDonald house? And I'd have took your money, and I might would have put a clown nose on. I'd have did anything short of sin or make my like a bunker, like is what I would have
Listen,
did it, bro. So
I
yeah,
just want to
I
tell
was
you that
broke.
I did Winter Jam 2 times.
Uh,
Front end of my career around '01, and then maybe midway, like around 2011.
huh.
And I traveled just with a hype man.
Uh huh.
And you hustle. You got to hustle out there. You know,
Got
you're
to.
fighting with 15 other bands. You got maybe
Uh
two
huh.
minutes to perform,
It's a
and you
carnival.
know
Yeah.
you're living off of your merch sales, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I was bare bones. I again shout out to New Song for putting me on there. I was just me and my man George Moss. You know George,
That's my dog.
and
Yeah.
we had 3 minutes at the front end, 3 minutes at the back end, and 1 minute maybe. And it's clear that I am KJ52. That's it's on the paper. It's on the poster.
Oh
And
man.
I won't tell you what city I was in.
Oh man.
George walked out first. He's outside before we go on this, near the stage.
Yeah.
And they are clearly shouting at him, KJ, KJ.
Mm-hmm.
We've already performed.
Okay.
We've already done our first 3 minutes. If you're going to balance this out of who's got more melanin, me or George, George has a built-in SPF factor of 30.
Yeah, it's pretty.
There's
You're
there's
nowhere
nothing.
close to him.
They were convinced he was me. So I don't know if it's just that you're so far away you can't tell. I don't know if it's just everybody's excited. I don't know if it's the Midwest. I'm just gonna say,
Yes,
I mean,
bro. I'm
listen,
walking down the hall and they're like, "Look right, look right," and I just keep walking. So there's some kids in the Midwest that to this day think Lecrae is a jerk
well,
because
you
they
could
were
have ruined
screaming his
you would
name, and I
you
did
could
not
have ruined
turn
his
around.
career right then.
Oh yeah, facts.
And screw these kids. All right.
Right.
Anyway, we've had a bunch of people jump in the chat room. They're hitting up from everywhere, from Facebook and a couple other spots.
Nice.
So we'll grab questions in a minute, but I want to respect your time. I want to, obviously not take away time from your family, but I did actually want to talk.
Hold on one second. This girl Amy said, "LOL, hopped on quick."
I know.
At
I
first
wasn't
thought
gonna
it was
say it, bitch.
Lecrae. You're so disrespectful, Amy. Wait a second. I
Amy.
want to fight you right now, but
Lord,
I love
touch
you and I
Amy,
don't
Lord.
fight women.
Lord, touch her eyes, Lord. Lord, just loose her vision, Lord. Let her see. All right. I wanted to do something just really honestly, man. Obviously we've done one I want to say great tour together. I don't know if it was a great tour. I said we did one tour, me, you, and Prop. I think it was about 10 dates or so spread out over all of America. We've played plenty of like one-off dates. I've been to your house countless times. I have gotten my top 5 hugs of all time was from Ziggy at your front door. Came to your door flies open. I don't even know if I'd even ever met your family, and the door flies open. He just wraps his arms around my legs. He might have only been to my knees. It's a man, and he just
He's your height
Hugging
now. He's
me,
probably your height.
bro. So I was like, man, I feel right at home.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about fatherhood because, I think there's a lot of unique things to what we do, or I should say, what I used to do. I'm a full time pastor now, but just the uniqueness of what it means to be a father
Mm.
and to be, I don't want to say a rap dad or a hip hop dad,
Yeah.
but realistically, the power of being able to overcome the past.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about. I had four questions for you. Well, first of all, how many kids do you have? Go ahead. Let's
Two.
let's talk about that. You
Two
have
that I
two.
know of. Two that I know of. Two. No, I'm just playing,
Two.
bro.
Okay.
Two.
And I haven't seen them in probably, man, maybe 10 plus years. I think around that. How old are they now?
Nah, 11 and 13.
Okay.
Yep.
So dead
I
middle,
I
junior
got I
high,
got teenager, man. Yeah, bro.
so sixth grade, eighth grade.
Hmm.
Um, my first question for you is, as a father,
Yeah.
um, I want to start positive. As a
Yeah.
father, what would you say has been your biggest win as a father to those two boys?
Mm. My kids love church.
Really?
They love it. They love church. They love God. They are oftentimes when I'm dragging, they're leading the charge. Like, Dad, I want to go to church. So I love that. I have to credit a lot of that to my mom. My mom, anybody that's know my story, I always talk about how my mom had me in church like every day, and she's
Yeah.
still in church every day. So it's like, like literally, she goes to like 3 services on Sunday. Like it's crazy work. But I think
She's
it's
safe,
that. But
save.
oh, she saved. Like it's gonna be her and Jesus for sure. Like Jesus, first, and then she gonna be like second, third. She at least top 20 for sure. Um, but yeah, man, I think my kids they love God. I think that's the thing that I love the most is that I've tried to train them up to where that's their guiding light. So hopefully, they
Well,
stay on the path.
can I kind of unpack that statement a little bit? I know, we've had conversations years back about, there was a period in time in your life where you struggled even going to church,
Yeah,
that you felt that, there was some statements made that were, kind of racist,
yeah,
not
yeah,
intentionally, but definitely interpreted that way and could be interpreted that way, or may have just been racist. Period. The point
right,
being is that
right,
I remember a time when we were recording. I was just coming and hanging out with you. You were like, "I'm kind of done with church right now."
yeah,
Like you had struggled with trying to find maybe the right spot, or you just seem burnt out on this idea of corporate worship.
yeah,
So it's interesting for me to hear you say that your kids love church.
yeah,
What is it
yeah,
like? What's the thing that they're leading the charge with? Because there's definitely some people watching right now, like, I can't even get my kid to go to church.
yeah. You know, I think we've been through some like crazy seasons, and the blessing that we've had is, I I went around, the church I grew up in, and then I went to other churches, and I've been around the world, and I started going back to my home church, the one I grew up in.
Mm,
It's not a lot of people there.
mm,
No one cares. Like I'm just Derek Jr. there. I'm not
gotcha.
Derek Minor. And so our church is more like a family reunion when I go, right?
Okay.
It's not a like, oh, this guy has accomplished so much. They're like, boy, we remember when you used to pee in the bed. Like it's more that. So it's like family there. Like there's no, so it's like we're all comfortable,
That's
and I
cool.
think that that's the thing that I think that's the thing that they love is like church is more family than it is just going someplace and singing a bunch of songs. So
It's funny you say that because I've been really challenged in myself, for 20 years being a full time hip hop artist. Like your skill set or your songs or your music becomes like that's your default setting. Like
yeah,
everything about you is wrapped up in you as an artist or your song or your whatever, wherever they saw you. And I've been actually be going back to the juvenile detention centers and doing ministry.
mm-hmm,
And this is
mm-hmm,
kind of my way of working through things that's going on with my son. And
yeah,
I was donated a sound system and all this stuff, and I had everything at my fingertips to go in and do music. And the thing that every time I prayed about it, the Lord kept saying, "Is the Word of God enough?"
mm,
And Do you need a song to impress somebody? Do you need the hottest bars? Do you need to freestyle for 15 minutes about what, like everything that was my old way of doing things? The
Yeah.
Lord was like saying, "But can you trust me enough that my word is bigger than your abilities, which is we all pale in comparison to whatever."
Woo.
And I've what I've noticed also a shift in church is that people that are coming back to church, first of all, they don't have to. If they
Yeah.
are, they're not coming for bells and whistles. At least the ones that I've been talking to,
Mm-mm.
that they're almost turned off by the theater production, the I call it Six Flags over Jesus. You know what I'm saying? The dancing
Right.
bears, the laser guns, the
Yeah.
hottest sneakers, like all that stuff. And I'm as a full-time pastor now, like I'm really cognizant of that stuff. Like, because I this year was the first year I spoke probably over 10 times.
Mhm.
And there's so many things in my arsenal that the Lord kept saying, put that aside. Because all they're going to do is fall in love with you. I want them to fall in love with me. So it's interesting to hear you talk about your church experience now is like pretty simple.
But it makes sense though. Think about it, right? So when you even look at like social media and all of that, like what have you not seen on social media? Like there's
Right.
not a thing you haven't seen. So like
Absolutely.
I think to myself, like, how could you even wow a person in 2024, which right now I'm training an AI model of myself. Like you can't like you know what I mean? Like, there's
Right.
no way you can wow a person
Right.
now.
Right.
So there has to be substance. And when you
Yeah.
look at these kids, they're looking for substance. When you look at people, like you said, it's a choice to go to church. So people are looking for substance. So I try to lead with substance. Like what you
It's
see
good.
is what you get, you know? So I see it.
Well, I think that's always been your MO to begin with. I don't think there's ever been, you know, I yeah. I mean, the minute you punched me in the stomach, I was like, this guy's a real one. So, my second question, as a father,
Yeah.
uh, what has been your biggest challenge right now? Maybe not overall, because we all know
Yeah.
it changes over time. But at this current like season of raising an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old, what's your biggest challenge?
Well, for me, and I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people share the same sentiment, but like I had very great examples of what not to do.
Sure.
But I never had anyone that I could bounce these ideas off. Like my dad was on drugs, my stepdad was on drugs. So like
Hmm.
neither one of them were, and they're good men. They were
Hmm.
good men, but they were flawed men. And they were very flawed fathers and they died early. Like
Hmm.
both of them died before my kids were even my dad saw my kids when they were like 1 and 3 years old. Um,
Wow.
Stepdad died before they were even born. Um,
Wow.
so like I didn't have anyone to go to and say, "Hey,
What
these
do you think about
manhood
this?
talks right now. How do we do this? Like, how do we talk about the birds and the bees? Or, hey, my son is dealing with this. What would you do?" So I never
Yeah.
really had that. So I feel like I'm constantly finding my way, and I'm trying to do a good job, but I don't have a bar. But the bar is Jesus. That's a high bar. And I constantly fail, but sometimes it's good to just even have someone that you say, well,
You
when I
can
was a
bounce stuff
kid, what
off
did
of.
you do? Yeah, when I was a kid, how did you do this? Like, or what was your mindset and all of that stuff? Like, I didn't really have any of that.
Yeah, man. That's like I'm building the car while I'm driving it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
And the car
driving a
keeps the car keeps breaking down while I'm driving the car, and
yeah,
I've got one hand on the steering wheel, the other hand's reaching outside the car trying to
yeah.
fix the tire.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
got the hood up and my hands are on my hips and I'm smoking a cigarette looking like, "Well, what the heck's going on?"
Bro, it's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. I'll tell you where my struggle was. I actually I had a moment when I was young. I was about 7, where a neighbor, I should say, an upstairs neighbor, who I didn't know. Tampa was a wild place, still is a wild place, but this was a really
Yeah.
wild place.
Uh,
Who tried to take me when I was 7, and he was literally
man.
next door.
Wow.
And most of it I have had blocked out, like memory wise, very little. It's only recently that I've been able to like go back and work through some of the things that happened, to walk in freedom with it, to walk in forgiveness with it,
Yeah.
and even go back to the place where it happened and literally declare freedom in that spot. But I could say up to that point, it has been hard for me to even be in a room with. I should say be in a room with older men. That's not the right word I'm trying to say, but there would always be a little bit of a distrust.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I realized that later on where that came from. So for me, even to seek out older men who have several years down the road, it's like almost my default setting was to be like, don't trust anybody older than you that's male,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Only trust those that are the same age or younger,
Mm-hmm.
which goes back to what you're saying is like there's no blueprint. And it's only recently that I've found freedom in that area. Not only just freedom, I've shown myself like, hey, I need to go seek out older men that I can trust
Yeah.
and that I can confide in and I can even feel safe around. And it's weird to say that because I have so many incredibly godly, wonderful older men
Yeah.
that this had 99% nothing to do with them and 100% had to deal with me. And
Yeah.
so I
I
resonate with
got
what
a
you're
chance
saying.
to
Like,
go. I got a chance to go to your church. You got some balling brothers there, man. Some people that's like, they bought that action, man. You blessed, man.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
dope.
I
It's dope.
am. And that's the point though. That's where there's really no excuse for me.
Mm.
That like ingrained thought processes in my head and things that you just do without even realizing. The thing that really broke it for me was going to a prayer meeting for about 3 to 4 months, whereas majority older men at the prayer meeting, and we were praying super early,
Mm.
and the Lord kept saying, "You need to be here. You just need to be here. You need to be around men that model prayer and men that model godliness." And men that aren't like you. That's the other
Yeah.
problem is like I was always just seeking out people that are like me or have a common ground with and forming tight relationships with them. And then people that I don't resonate with, um, very surface relationships. But
Why do older
anyway,
men always want to meet in the morning?
they do. They love a
Why 5
6:30.
a.m.
They
6:30?
love
Like, why are you doing this to
That's
us?
so true. They love a 6:30 a.m. Panera Bread Bible study.
Right.
This is so accurate. I don't know. Different generation.
I,
I say that with the guy who gets up at 5:30.
right.
I'm that guy now. But all right. Let's my third question for you is what has been your as a father, what
Yeah.
has been your biggest I want to say your biggest laugh moment, meaning something happened with your boys or it could be just something that they do on a continual moment that like absolutely you just have to go you just lose it. It's just something that brings you maybe joy, something that brings you laughter, something that happened one time. Like what's your biggest laugh moment as a father?
Biggest laugh moment. So, all right. So my son, around the same age, I'm thinking maybe like 4 or 5. I come home from tour, and just like you're like, man, you got this big hug from Zane. I walk home. I'm dragging my bags up the steps. I think I've been. It was probably gone for. It was one of them rough ones. One of them. We gone for like 7 days. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm coming up the steps. Zane opens the door and says, "Hey y'all, look, it's Frozone." And he just laughs at me. He calls me Frozone. So, for those of you that don't know,
Yeah,
we
you
play
need to unpack Frozone.
Frozone is the black character in The Incredibles. It's voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. So, Frozone actually is on Fortnite right now. So
Okay.
this is years later. This is like maybe like yeah. I mean, he was on there like a month and a half ago. So Nolan runs down the steps. This is right around the time Andy and Lecrae's Coming in Hot was on there. So he's like, hey, I do a lot of stuff in the sync space. And how that stuff you just never know. So he's like, Dad, they got you on Fortnite. I'm like, oh word. So I'm thinking one of my songs made it. And he's like, look, so I run up the steps and he's like, look, it's Frozone. It's like, I'm like, bro, I do
Kids bring
not
you down
like,
to the earth real
I
quick, don't they?
don't like y'all at all. I don't like
That's
y'all.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're like, you're out the wheel, son. You're going to
Like, oh,
you're
it's
going
over
to
with.
junior college.
It's over with.
Okay. Well, the last question is what has been uh the biggest thing to overcome? Uh, rather, and that's a really broad question, but I meant like the biggest thing to overcome either in how you parent, the biggest thing to overcome in maybe how, what they're facing,
Yeah.
and it could be something that you haven't overcome yet. Like it's just
Yeah.
something like this is in the space I'm in right now. We're all works in progress. Bible says work out your salvation with fear and trembling, and parenting is fixing the car while you're driving it down the street.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest thing to overcome right now?
You know, I got two things that I can think of just like off the bat. So my mom, because she was stressed out a lot, because she was mostly a single parent or had a very dysfunctional marriage because of her not knowing how to do this right, and my stepdad being on drugs. She didn't really have time to do the gentle parenting thing. It was just
Mm,
like, foul, come
mm,
on. And it's just like everything was just yelling at the top of her lungs
sure.
because she just was exhausted. And it's like you come home and the kids are just being kids, and it's like you don't really know. She didn't have time to do that.
Yeah.
Um so I yell, and I gotta catch myself to be like, that's not the best way to handle
Yeah.
conflict. Like you don't have to yell at your kids. They're gonna listen to you. They respect you. I think that's that, and I think the second one that I think is even bigger than that is not projecting my fear and my trauma on my kids. Like that's
Can
your baggage. Like so, a lot of times, um, it's realizing sometimes kids will be kids,
Yeah.
and they could say some stuff that or do some things that you take personal, right? So like,
Sure.
man, with me, it's like since I didn't have a dad, my thoughts are like, or since my dads were dysfunctional, I'm like, dang man, I'm trying to kill it as a dad. I take y'all to do this and that, and y'all are disobedient. As
Yeah.
opposed to like, so you're taking it personal. All that stuff they don't have no reference point for it. It's just I just forgot to clean up my room. Like it's not personal.
Right.
I'm
Right.
10. Like I'm
Right.
10. Fortnite is going on the
Right.
television, and
Room, Fortnite. It's a no
it's
brainer.
an easy decision. It's Fortnite, or
Right.
you know what I mean. Like it's not that it's personal, but to me, it's such a personal thing because I really want to do a good job. So it's like the feeling of it not being reciprocated. It's like, nah, you're projecting your fear and your trauma on your kids, and then now you're gonna create one for them. So I've been trying to really do better at. My friend told me he's like, you got to stop. My friend, shout out to my homeboy Adam Thomason. He was like, just don't. You can't take this stuff personal. Like I know we grew up a certain way. It's not
Yeah.
personal. Your kids love you. So yeah.
How long did you go before you started to recognize that in yourself? Like, did you go several years of that just being your default setting? Is it recent?
Man, it's like now today. Like it's this is a thing. Like I feel like people talk about trauma and therapy and all those things as if it's like you're gonna get to a place to where you don't need it. And I don't see that because all I look at good therapy is just really just good training. And I don't know a
Right.
person that doesn't need training. Like
Right.
LeBron James been playing in the NBA, for a long time, and he still has trainers because you
Sure.
still have to progress and keep going. So,
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah. It's funny you talk about therapy. I never thought that that would be anything that I would even remotely entertain.
Yeah.
But I noticed that a couple years ago I was stuck, and
Mm,
I was, I couldn't fast and pray it away.
mm,
I couldn't
mm-hmm,
talk it out,
mm-hmm.
and I just was stuck. And it was so many things that I probably didn't even realize until I had hit those moments. And I started to think, okay, look, if you're talking about the game type, analogy, like if your game is stuck, you need somebody that's either qualified or professional or has been there before to go, here's how you get unstuck. And I started that journey about a year, maybe 2 years ago, with multiple things. And I realized that the best version I could do of that is learning the tools and then starting to space out the times I was having these conversations, these therapy conversations,
Factual.
and that was forcing me to put them into practice. And it was only just recently, I would say a couple months ago, that I'd gone to like quarterly and then I gone to quarterly, and then I was like, the person that I was meeting with all that time, they were like, I think you're done. And
Mm,
I knew what they meant. They didn't say you're not done, you're not there, you're not arrived, but
right.
they were basically saying you need to now walk this out on your own.
Yeah.
And the one thing I remember that they shared was, and I use this even when I have like prayer times with people. What's the lie you believed?
Mm,
What's God's truth? And what does God say about you? And
mm,
it's such a powerful thing to identify the lie. Like you're talking about, the lie that I believed was that I got to yell.
yeah. Yeah.
That's my normal. That's my default setting.
Oh,
But God's truth is, a gentle answer turns away wrath. God's word
bars.
says, you know, about you that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you're the head, not the tail. Just these scriptures that we can claim. And I've watched those things just so much, start to turn the tide and stuff. So, um, anyway, um, yeah, man, that's really all. I want to just do those 4 questions to hear your heart.
Man.
And anything else that you wanted to share real quick about being a father, to those that have been tuning in? We get a bunch of people that have been tuning in since we jumped on, and I'm going to repost this again, so people are going to watch it. So
Yeah. I think the thing that I would say to anyone, but especially those that are single fathers or those that are figuring this out for the first time, or those that, I mean, just any dad is going to make mistakes. And I would
yeah,
say just to know that you're not the sum of your mistakes and that those kids are God's kids. They're not, like, God is going to do the work. Like, my job is to just get them as far as I can get them, but it's ultimately God is going to complete the work in them. So,
it's good.
you know, be patient and be a student. Like, learn your kids, learn yourself, learn your kids. Like, I think sometimes we think we have to have it all together, especially men. We're prideful. We're like, I'm a man, I gotta do this like this. It's like, nah, man. Like, I can't tell you, like, I made it my business to apologize to my kids when I'm wrong, because I don't want my kids to
Yeah,
grow up never apologizing.
yeah,
Like, I need to model this out for you, and I don't want them to ever grow up and think dad was perfect. Because there's only one person that's perfect. That's Christ Jesus. So
amen.
I'm hiding behind him. Like, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
What's the Kanye line? Say something, then you got to end up apologizing. How does he say? He like he brutalizes the word
Yes,
apologizing,
apology. Yeah,
apology, and that's how he said it.
something like that.
It's the hip hop artist's right
Big
to
old fires up
murder the English language.
apology. Yeah,
All right, I got a couple last questions. These are just like
for
this or
sure.
that type stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right. What's more hood, Black Nike Energy, or the oil, the Crisco oil sitting sitting on the stove? What's more?
I was gonna say, bro, like, I don't know if Black Nike Energy is hood as much as it is diabolical. Like, like, it's like Black Forces.
Okay,
Like,
I hear.
it's just
Okay,
like that's just danger. That's like, you know what I mean. Like, it's like certain things that you see. There's just like, if you see, I don't care what color they are. If they walk into an H&M with a ski mask on, you know what time it is. Like, ski mask on,
you're
black
right.
gloves, and then the next thing I'm gonna add is gonna be Black Forces. So,
Okay,
I
so
would
we
say
need
that.
to.
But I think the
This is
Crisco kid
this is
is more
the
just like
Crisco's.
hood.
Yeah, that's you're right. You're right. You're right. So maybe I need a better analogy for Black Nike Energy versus ski. Okay,
Black Nike Energy
ski mask,
is just crash
ski
out level,
mask,
huh? Oh, so that's just, I'm about
especially
to crash out. Black Nikes is
especially
like,
if it
I'm crashing out.
especially if it's dirty
Oh yeah,
and
creased.
it has the permanent
Yeah, yeah,
the
the
crease,
permanent crease.
the crease. Okay,
Run.
I know.
That's like the Michael Myers mask. Like, a Black Forces is like the Michael Myers Jason mask of the hood. Like, if you see that, there's nothing
All right.
good coming from that. Like, yeah.
So to those that don't understand what Black Nike Energy is a phrase for the thugged out gangster. I don't know.
They're
It's the
listening to
dude.
NBA YoungBoy on the, they don't have headphones. They're just blasting it out in public off the side of their Android speaker. Like, it's just like they
Permanent
walking
crack.
down the street.
Permanent
You know
crack.
what I mean? Yeah,
in the
for sure.
speak.
Yeah, it's cracked. It got the Spider-Man app on it. It's
Yeah,
cracked.
that's the one. It's okay if you want to cross the street. There's nothing.
Listen,
You just.
I'm crossing the street.
I'm gonna.
I'm,
I'm.
it's not racist. If you see someone with black forces on and they listen to NBA YoungBoy and the speaker off the Android is what it is, I'm crossing the street with you. Like I'm just giving you
Well,
permission.
it doesn't
It's
matter
not
what their
racist.
ethnicity is. If the
Yeah,
black Nike energy is there,
it's over with. I don't
yeah.
care. White, black,
Okay.
pink, purple. If a alien,
And if it's
yeah,
like,
it's
yeah.
over with.
All right. Second one, DC or Marvel. I know you are a comic book head. DC or Marvel, and why? You got to give like your treaty. You got to give.
Are
You got to
we
give
are
me
we
your
are we talking about what are we talking about? Are we talking about the movies? We talking about the characters? We talking about the what are we talking about?
strictly comic books.
Just
Strictly
off the
comic books.
comic books?
Yeah, just off the comic book strength.
That's tough.
You,
I
you're about
was
to be stranded like Tom Hanks in Castaway. There's two boxes in the plane. One's full of DC. One's full of Marvel. You can only grab one. You got seconds to make a decision.
so I'm probably going to go with Marvel. And so here's what I would say. I'm a DC fan. Batman is my all-time favorite. I'm a Batman all-time favorite superhero. I believe his detective comics are the best superhero comics there are.
Yes.
The thing with Marvel is they have such a wide array of stuff, and some stuff is super crazy, some stuff ain't. But I'm going Marvel. I think if I just
Okay.
gotta take one, I gotta take Marvel.
Respect.
Yeah.
Okay. Last final question. You have to go back in time to one era, one hip hop era. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I'm going to break it down, which eras you can go to pre 80s, like the birth, you
Mm-hmm.
know, Cool Herc, somewhere in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's wide open. No one's ever heard of this thing. You can go back to that era, 1980 to 1988 era,
Mm-hmm.
89 to 96 era, solid 90s era, or anything past 96, meaning lean with it, rock with it
Talking
era,
about from
2000s
'96 to
era,
now.
maybe to 2010. So, yeah, to 2010. Anything after 2010, we don't count. So 96 to 2010. That's your other era. That's four eras.
Can I
Which
include '96? Can I do '96 to '03?
you know what? Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
one you're
probably
gonna go
where
to.
I'm going. I'm going '96 to
Okay.
'03 because I'm gonna get DMX. I'm gonna get Ti.
Okay.
I'm gonna get I'm still gonna get some Pac. You know what I mean? I still that's
Yeah.
to
I mean,
me
the throwback
96 to
jerseys were
96 to
3x.
'06. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Are
I'm
you
cool
gonna
with that.
Are you gonna go and bring in like the Pelly Pelly velour suit
No,
with no?
no,
You gotta have
I'm not
standards.
doing it. I gotta
Not
have
the Pelly
standards.
Pelly. Not the
But my
the
jeans
FUBU.
will you absolutely be able to fit two people in my jeans. Like without a doubt, you will be able to put two people in my jeans, and I will have the Soldier Boy crank that shirt
Okay, and
to my
the
knees.
jorts are mid calf.
The
You
jorts
don't know if
are
they were
mid calf.
are they long shorts or short pants. We don't know.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. We got a ton of questions on here. I'm not even gonna go through them because I mean, unless you want to do one question, we can grab one question. Otherwise, I'm gonna let you go. I know we've been on here for 43
I'll
minutes.
do one.
Okay,
Derek
grab one
Derek
question
Derek
out
is
there.
the
Can you see him?
man of the fans.
Okay.
Let me see. I don't see
Somebody
him.
said bacon grease, not Crisco. 79 and 96.
It's a lot more comments than questions in here. It seems like it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we're just that entertaining, sir.
it's what
That's
it
the
is. Hey,
problem.
we answered everything, so
Okay.
it's good. Yeah, I'm with it.
Okay. All right. Well, if you had a question, drop it below in the comment. We won't see it. We won't answer it. But either way, we love you. We appreciate you. Um, do you mind? Do you mind if I take a second and just pray for you? Pray for
No,
you.
I would absolutely
And
love that.
okay.
Yeah.
Lord, I just want to say thank you so much for my man Derek. I thank you for his family. I thank you for his wife. I thank you for just the way that you have changed the direction of a family. Only you can do that, Lord. I thank you that his kids have such a desire for your house. Lord, I'm believing that as he just as a father continues to guide them through this, what can be one of the most painful times, which is junior high. I pray that he absolutely just walks in calmness and projected strength, but also walks in just keeping his ear to you, hearing from you, and continuing to lead his family the way you've called them to be led. So I thank you for him. I thank you for all the things that he hasn't even done yet. We speak that into life in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, my
Amen.
man.
My dog, much love.
It's
I
good catching up with
appreciate
you,
you,
man.
man. Yeah, good seeing you, boy.
Have a wonderful evening. Say hi to your family, and thank you guys for jumping in here. God bless y'all.
Peace.